Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Today I'm going to show you a project that I have worked on lately. It's a sorting algorithm. I have called it step sort. Step, it's related to steps, and sort is about sorting algorithm. This sorting algorithm has a time complexity of order of magnitude of n only if used within the limitations that I will talk about the limitation that I will talk about in the end. So it works on 4 steps. I will walk you through the 4 steps. This is the image of the first step here. So step 1, let's say this is the array. Okay, we got 4 7 7 4 5 7 5 4 4 4 5 7 4 4 7 5 4 7. Okay, so the first thing is that let's imagine these are cards that have these values. So the first step is to get the minimum value, the maximum value, and the step. So let's look here. We are going to get the minimum value. So calculating the minimum value has a time complexity of order of magnitude of n. So we are going to loop through each one here. And of course, this array meets the limitations that I will talk about in the end. So this array that we are going to sort meets the limitations that I will talk about in the end. So the minimum value equals 4, the maximum value equals 7. So here 7. So we loop through the loop. This has obtaining the maximum value has an order of magnitude of n, time complexity, and step. So the step here equals 1. What is the step? Step is 4, 5, 6, 7. So how does it take? So basically we would like to have an array that may contain all the elements, every possible element. What is the step required to move through? So we can move from 4 to 5, from 5 to 6, from 6 to 7. So we can say here that the step equals 1. So so there are 2 ways to calculate the step. The first way to calculate the step is by entering it. So for example, you can enter 1, you can enter 0.1, a decimal, or it can be tens, hundreds. So for example, 0, 100, 200, 400, 300, 500. These are hundreds. So the step will be 100. Here the step is 1. So from 4 to 5 we add 1, from 5 to 6 we add 1, from 6 to 7 we can add 1. So this is the limitation I will talk about in detail in the end. So basically step 1 is get minimum value, maximum value, and the step. So the step is calculated actually, the step is actually calculated. I would like to open this file in a new tab. Okay, so the step is calculated in the Python file. This is the code. So get minimum maximum step. So actually the step is calculated in this code. If you it takes time to calculate. So if you enter the step of your database of your data, that would be a lot better. But if you do not, it's also decided with the help of this function get precision. But if you don't enter the value of the step, it will be automatically calculated, and the step takes order of magnitude of n to be calculated. So we create first thing is that we get the minimum value, maximum value, and the step. The step is what enables us to create an array, to know every possible element in this array. So this is the first step. So we get the maximum value, minimum value, maximum value, and the step. If not provided, it's optional if you would like to provide the step. So basically, let's look at the code of how to use it. The function parameters. Here we got the numbers and we got the step. It's optional. If you would like to input the step, it should be a number. A number is an integer or float. It can be a number, or it can be a number, it can be integer or float. So I have coded using Python. So the second step is to generate an empty step array. So let's look at the picture here. In the previous step, the step 1, we got the minimum value, maximum value, and the step. And we can say here that there are 4 elements in this array, or 3, and 6 is not mentioned. So the second step is generate empty step array. So we will call that a step array. So it will be an array that will look like that. It will be an array that will look like that. 0, 0, 0, 0. This is the step array. It will start at this value, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is the step array. It has 0, 0, 0, 0. So the meaning of the first 0 is how many times was 4 mentioned in the array. We will start with 0. We will fill it in the next step. So it's just we created it. How did we create it? We used the minimum value, the maximum value, and the step to create it. So the minimum value will start from 4. The maximum value is 7, and the step is 1. So 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. These are all the possible elements that may be in the array. This is the limitation. There is a possible data that can be in the array, and we can calculate it. 0. So 4 means that 4 has been repeated 0 times so far. We have not calculated how many times it was calculated, so we will do that in the next step. It's called the step array. So the first element is equal to 0, which means 4 so far repeated 0 times. 5 repeated 0 times, 6 repeated 0 times, and 7 repeated 0 times. So we call that the step array. We will call that a step array. And let's look here. Using the minimum value, maximum value, and the step, we can generate the empty step array. It's empty so far. It's full of zeros. It's just empty. Generate empty step array. Now let's move on to the third step. Third step is simply fill the step array. So how do we do that? So basically we loop through the array. We loop through each element in the array. 4. We look here. We add 1. 7. We add 1 in this element. So it was like that. 0, 0, 0, 0. So we found the first element to be 1, so we change its value. We found the first element, we change its value like that. And then we keep incrementing and counting. 7, increase 7, 7, increase 7, 4, increase 4. 5, increase 5 by 1, 7, increase 7 by 1, 5, increase 5 by 1, 4, 4, 4. So this step, filling the step array, has an order of magnitude of n time complexity. This means that 4 was repeated 8 times, 5 was repeated 4 times, 6 was not repeated at all, and 7 we found out that it was repeated 6 times. How do we do this step again? We loop through the array. If we found an element, we increase the meaning of it. If we found an element, we increase the meaning of it. We find another element, we increase the meaning of it. This is a counter. So using fill the step array, iterate over each element in the step array and increment the value at the correct index of that element. And the final step is simply unfold the step array. It's loading, I think. Yeah, okay. Unfold the step array. So we will create a new empty array, and then this will be empty like that. And then we are going to do like 8. This means the 4 was repeated 8 times, so we extend this 8 times by the value of 4. 5 was repeated 4 times, we extend this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 was repeated 6 times, so we extend this time. And that's how we calculate, how we convert this array that is unordered into this array that is ordered. Again, step 1, get minimum value, maximum value, and step. Step can be entered or it can be calculated. The code calculates the step here. Step 2, generate empty step array. This is our step array. The step array will be full of zeros. It will look like that, as we can see here. This means that 4 was repeated 0 times so far. It's empty. 5 was repeated 0 times, 6 was repeated 0 times, and 7 was repeated 0 times. These are every possible element that can happen inside this array. The third step is simply to fill the step array. We walk through each element and increment and count each element inside the array. And the final step is simply unfold the step array to unfold it. So 4 was repeated 8 times, 5 was repeated 4 times, 7 was repeated 6 times. We create an empty. How do we do the fourth step? We create an empty array called sorted list. We iterate over each element. First element found 8 fours here, 4 5s. Third element 6 is empty, so we don't do anything. Fourth element add 6 7s to the sorted array. Then we have a parameter called reverse. Reverse it. It's optional. The default is false. So if it was not reversed, then we keep everything like that. Ascending. But if it was reversed, then we have to flip that, reverse that list in order to then we have to reverse that list in order to get the descending order. So it will be 7 will be the first element, 7s, and then 5s, and then 4s. The limitation, this is the limitation that all of this depends on. The limitation, since the step array can contain every possible element that will be created, so it shouldn't be that the number of possibilities is very large. So the number of possibilities cannot be very large. This is represented by the step. So the step should be something that is. This cannot happen with like real random numbers. So for example, let's imagine the following two arrays. For example, let's imagine that these two arrays 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. This is suitable to be used here, to be used as a step sort. Minimum value is 1, maximum value is 2, and the step is 1. The step array will look like this: 12, 11. 12 elements have the value of 1, 11 elements have the value of 2. But this, can you see this array? 1, and this suddenly this number 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. This is not suitable. In that case, we should use a general purpose sorting algorithm. This is not suitable. This is the limitation. So minimum value is 1, maximum value is 2, but the step here is gonna be, so there will be lots of millions of or billions of elements that will be created in the step array. So this will consume too much computational energy, and this will consume too much time and space complexity. But actually, and the time and space complexity will not be equal to n. The step array will look like that: 12, lots of zeros here, 0, nothing was repeated, and suddenly 1, and then lots of zeros here again, and then suddenly 11 times. 12 times, lots of zeros, 1, 11 times. If the limitation is not met, then there will be a huge consumption of computational resources. Examples where the limitation is met can be 1, 2, all like integers or decimals, negative, positive, 0, 100, 200, negative 400, negative 100. Examples where the limitation is not met, this will create a very huge step array that will consume too much. So the code of the Python code and the testing. I have done testing. I have written the code. I have done testing. So this is the code. As we can see here, I will scroll slowly. This is the code. And I will also put the link to the description in the YouTube. And this is the testing that I have done. I also tried coding using JS and TS, but I just stopped midway. As we can see here, there is a folder called Python and there is a folder called JSTS. Custom type, I have created a custom type called number for Python that is it contains its union of integer and float. Maybe I should add a decimal also, so it accepts integer or float. A number that can be integer or float. The parameters of the function look like this. Step sort numbers is a list of the number. Step is optional. It's a number. It should be a number. So for example 1 2 3 4 5 6. And reversed optional. It's a boolean. Is it reversed or not? And accuracy is just related to there is a division inside that happens inside, so it just the division is inaccurate, so we have to round some variables. So this is the number of when division happens. This is the number that will be rounded. 12 numbers after the floating point will be rounded in order to make accurate divisions. This has nothing to do with the logic. It's just about the programming languages. They are inaccurate when it comes to division. So numbers explanation is the numbers that we would like to sort. This is not optional, it's required. It's a list of numbers. This is an example. This is also an example. The step between the numbers, it's not required. If it was not provided, it will be calculated, but if it was provided, it will save some calculation time. It's of the type number. It has to be more than 0. So for example, it can't be 0 because we can't keep adding step 0 0 0. This is going to take infinity to reach, for example, from 1 to 0. And it cannot be negative. The step cannot be negative. So it has to be more than 0. Examples 1.1 102. Reversed order ascendingly or descendingly. So the default is actually false. It's not reversed. It's a boolean. Examples true and false. Accuracy. This is not the step. It's not the step. It's just the number after the floating point has been rounded, because most of programming language are just in the division are not very accurate. It's not required. The default is 12. It has a type of integer, example 3 and 5. Thank you so much. And I don't know whether anyone has published any research paper like that before, but I think I don't know. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.